full of heart.
We got Al Pizarro in the house.
Let's go.
All right, y'all. Once again, this is The Conversation. Rock Logic's in the building. Al Pizarro's in the building. We got special guests in the building. And we do The Conversation every Sunday from 2 to 3, usually 4 o'clock. Every other Sunday we do that. We got Al Pizarro in the house. Robin's in the house. So it's kind of a hybrid show, a little bit of the real discussion, kind of like what's going on, and the conversation. And I'm going to give it up to my man, Al Pizarro. Sorry, wrong joint.
Yo, what the hell's going on here today? You know, let me tell you something. I'm not having this thing. Spectrum, I'm putting you on notice. Y'all better get your crap together.
Yeah, we got to get it going, bro. I got to tell you. What a day. Came in, Wi-Fi is just kind of not happening at all. All it was paid for. So we got to see what happened with that.
Yo, we got invaded today.
Yeah.
We got invaded. A whole troop came in here today.
Yeah. We got a posse in the house today, which kind of makes it a really interesting show because I know if the off-camera shit was interesting. You know what I'm saying? So on camera, this shit must be going to be crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to give it up to my man, the host of the most, Al Pizarro.
Look, you know what I'm wearing today, right?
What you got? I see the hat. B-boys, graffiti, MCs, DJs, and the big 5, big 50 in the middle.
5 decades.
Is that it right there?
5 decades.
I love that.
Hey, look, I'm gonna do everybody a favor right now. Look, I'm gonna do this, like this, go like this, and I'm gonna do this. Like I want you to understand, this just came out. Just came out. All right, you got that?
Just move it over a little bit.
Look at
move it over this way. Move it over towards me. Don't move the whole hat. There you go. Yeah, you got it. There you go. Yes.
5 decades, man. Look at this.
Okay.
Look at this.
Yeah, that's hot. I love that. Where can we get the hat, bro?
Hey, guess who's gonna be selling these hats? Big Jeff.
Oh, Big Jeff's selling the hats?
Big Jeff's on the hats.
Big shout out to Big Jeff.
And the shirts are better than the hats.
Oh, I can't wait.
Okay.
I can't wait. We're gonna rock and shock that shit.
Yeah, definitely. See that.
That's gonna be beautiful.
I made this is what I did. I'm always preaching building bridges and stuff like that. So I asked some people to partner with me with this.
Okay.
All right, and I asked Sons and Daughters of Hip Hop because they're doing that film.
The movie.
And the movie, you know, Hawk Entertainment. Samuel and Kelly, I asked them to join in, and I asked Big Jeff. And it's us, all of us together. And I thought it's important. You know what? I can't be talking about it, Rock, if I can't model it.
Right.
So if I wish I was a Jay-Z money-wise. You know, well, I wouldn't. No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna stop.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop right there. I'm about to say something. You're gonna get me in serious trouble. I'm not gonna say that.
You gotta hold back. Hold back.
But if I was a Jay-Z, if I was a Master P, I was a Dr. Dre, and I had the opportunity to share wealth, I would do that in a second. Because if I have that much, it'll be nothing for me to share.
Right. So
I said, you know, I'm talking about it all the time, but, you know, I haven't done it yet in that capacity. So I said to Samuel and Kelly and to Jeff, and I did ask one other person that, you know, I'm not going to go and say nothing else, and Jeff said, Al, thank you. Samuel said, I'd love to do it, and Kelly said, I would love to do it, and here we are. A partnership with this Lomo. And for those of you that are already trying to figure out how can I take that, it's already trademarked, people. So
too late.
Just want to let you know.
Too late.
That's why it took us a minute to do this, because we want to remind everybody in the hip hop culture, this is a business. Okay? We may love hip hop, but this is still a business. And in this 50th year anniversary, what's happening is that the corporate vultures are all over this.
Yeah.
All over this. And they do not share at all. I'll give you a perfect example. Nike came out with the 50th anniversary. Now, I would think that Nike would have said, I'm going to give everybody in the hip-hop culture a pair of kicks.
Yeah, that'd have been nice.
That would have been nice, right?
Yeah, that'd have been nice.
But that did not happen.
Yeah.
All right?
Even if they went the old school joints, Cortez, you might be rock.
Listen, they could have easily taken 200 or 300 of them and given them away. They're going to make that money 100 times fold. I see all the different logos for 50th anniversary all over the different place. All the different people doing their thing.
Plastic.
Shout out to Muhammad, because Muhammad set it off with the 50th year anniversary logo, and that's the one. That's the one that I'm going with. Those people that you understand, I'm supporting that logo. Right. All right, and other people are doing their thing, and I talked, and I thought about it. We got to come out with a 50th, and I was told Rock knew, like he knew we were doing something. Mm-hmm. He sort of had it like 3 weeks ago, and I said like, we're gonna come out with something, but we're gonna come out with something different for everybody. So that's why it's graffiti, b-boys, MC, and DJs, right, and all that, and that's why Big Jeff and I said Big Jeff does so much for so many people, Rock. Mm-hmm. And I don't see him getting back. Right.
He's a true tipping point of hip hop. Like he knows everybody. Yeah. Anytime I'm working on a tour or anything, I call Jeff. I go, Jeff, I need such and such, and he'll be like, all right, don't worry, it's the key to get him on the phone. You know what I'm saying? Just like that, just like that. Yeah. So
let me say this: Jeff has a piece of ownership of this.
Oh, hold on.
I thought he deserved that.
Okay.
So and that's what I wanted to do, and that's why I'm talking about it, because I got to remind people. I keep on telling people, Hip Hop Boulevard is not my company. I gave it to God, but I bless everybody that I can bless with this company.
Right.
But it's a business. And if we handle our business properly, nobody can take advantage of you and abuse you if you do it properly. So let me be an example to all of you. And I hope a Jay-Z, a Switch B, somebody listens to this, because, man, you got enough money to do something. Mm-hmm. To do something. Come on, man. We got people in the hospital. Yes. We got Dre that got amputated one leg. Yes. Come on, man.
Yeah, for real. Do something on substance. That's right.
Fat Man Scoop's in the hospital. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
Look, right. Man, I see white people, and not that, look, I always say this, I'm not prejudiced, but I see white people give out millions of dollars to charity. Mm-hmm. Millions. Why is it that our people, I'm Puerto Rican, but I'm black and I'm Puerto Rican.
Right.
Take it or leave it. That's the way that I am. All right? Our people, so when I say our people, right, we don't take care of each other. We don't do that at all. We step on each other as many times as we can. And I think that it needs to stop. And, the reason why I'm here is because of Rock. Rock was the one that convinced me to do this show. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I'm not here because I thought of this. Rock said, Al, you got to do the show. Come on, you got to do the show.
Got to do a podcast, yeah.
And here we are doing a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But
I got to tell you what I say, right? There should have been, in hip-hop, something called Kool Herc taxes. Everybody in hip-hop should give a portion of their earnings to Kool Herc. Like, I really believe that. I don't understand how the creator of hip-hop, the godfather of hip-hop, can walk around crazy and broke. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm not saying it has to be millions of dollars. I'm just saying with all the rappers that as much money as niggas blow in the strip club and so on and so forth, if once a year you say, you know what, we're going to send Herc, I'm going to send him 10 grand. We all going to send him 10 grand. And I'm talking about the successful niggas in hip hop. That 10 grand is nothing. You know what I'm saying? I've been to Russell's office. Russell give you 10 grand like it was $10. Right. Oh, I need 10 grand. And he would give it to like the old school dudes. Love Bug, Starsky and all that. So I'm just saying it should be some kind of something like that in appreciation. And I got to tell you, what's really crazy to me is, it's the 50th anniversary of hip hop, and where's Herc? Like, has anybody heard from Herc? I'm really asking, like, on some real shit, because he was not represented at the Grammys.
At the Grammys, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they made a mention of him, and then you got to understand, like, I get it. Flash is far more commercial than the other two. Then Bam, Bam's got his issues, but Flash is the squeaky clean, right? Flash will do that because they had to do somebody.
Right.
But in the same token, I felt like Herc at the very least should have been the first person to walk on the stage and then left. And the last person to walk off stage. Should have came back out, boom. He didn't even have to say anything.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Because when we do that shit like that, that's washing our history. That's fucking the whole shit up. Next thing you know, Flash is the one that created hip-hop.
Well,
instead of being a contributor.
I want to give you full disclosure.
Go ahead.
When I started Hip Hop Boulevard, before I started it, me and my wife was in Katona Park. Mm-hmm. and my wife is not into hip hop. Okay, she said, "What are we doing here?"
Right.
I said, "These my friends. I'm gonna watch them perform, and I have this idea, through Julio Pabon and some people that said we should change the name of the street to Hip Hop Boulevard." And I saw Herc, and I said, "Herc, I'm with some people. We're gonna change the name of the street to Hip Hop Boulevard. You should be a part of this. You need to be a part of this." And he said, "Give me 10 G's out."
Right. Yeah, I know.
So I full disclosure though, because you know the story, right?
Oh no,
they don't know the
right.
story.
And you gotta
so
say,
full disclosure.
listen, and because I know Herc, I know Herc is batshit crazy. People talk, and I go, listen, you get this nigga on the phone, you're gonna have a different opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like I toured with Herc. You know what I'm saying? So I know, like when he was a part of that movie, The Get Down, he was, that's why Flash is more a part of The Get Down than Herc actually was, and Herc was there, but then he got a little wacky with the 10G shit. You know what I'm saying? So, I get it, especially with him. You know what I'm saying? Like we hung together every week in the shadow. We were on the road together. I know his personality. You know what I'm saying? And I know he's self-sabotaging.
So we're not throwing him under. We're not throwing him under the bus.
No. But I'm only I get it. But I'm only saying, right? Because I'm being clear. I know he's self-sabotaging. You know what I'm saying? We've had him DJ the shadow, all that stuff. But regardless of all of that, he still should still be represented.
Respect due
at these events.
Respect due.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of wacky niggas that end up at events that are white. You understand what I'm saying? You know they're wacky. So I just feel like he should have been fully represented at the Grammys. You want to say? He looks like he's itching in the seat. He's itching in the seat. Introduce yourself and go, because you itching in the seat. I see him go. He's like, oh my God. Tell him who you are and then let's go to work.
SHELT LaRock from the original Soundmaster crew and everything. Like my man Trey D here, we the one that bridged the gap between the West Coast and the East Coast in 1977 before all this started.
Okay.
So one name that people always forget about, like nothing away from Kool Herc, but I always mention Kool Herc, and you just mentioned Grandmaster Flash and Bambaataa.
Right.
But when Bambaataa used to play, he used to use DJ Mario's equipment.
Correct. Disco King Mario.
So when they say the 50th anniversary, it really go back beyond 50 years.
Right.
Because when they killed Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, they were the voice of the people. Mm-hmm. So hip hop came out as the voice of the people after that. That's why we put Melly Mel as first and everything, because that was the first one to put words together.
To really verbalize.
So when you put the 4 elements of hip hop, like you said, DJing, breakdancing, graffiti, and rap, the 5th element was always knowledge. It was always the lessons. That's what's missing right now. That's why the youth is so out of control right now, because they're not getting no lessons no more. So when RUNDMC came out, like we was talking about with Suck MCs, I'm standing on the corner with my B-boy stand. See, they stole everything stolen from the Bronx, like Kevin once said.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Bronx keep on making it. Brooklyn keep on taking it. Queens keep on faking it. Manhattan keep on making it.
Right.
Now, the B-boy stands really wasn't dealing with breakdancing boys. It was really dealing with Bronxdale boys, because that's where the Black Spades was the one that was doing the B-boys, like Charlie Rock.
Right.
And they were the one that was doing the B-boy, which is breakdancing, but it really stood for Bronxdale boys, because that was when the Black Spades came out in like 68. Malcolm X got killed in 65. Martin Luther King got killed in 68.
Yeah.
The Black Panthers came out and the Black Spades came out during that time period. And then when the Zulus came out later on, it became more of an intelligent movement and everything from Shaka Zulu. Right. So that's why when we play about Kool Herc, which is definitely good, but Mario's dead right now.
Right.
But he still deserves his flowers and everything, because it was never called hip-hop before or rap. It was just called jam. Yo, we going to that jam. Yo, where they jamming at? Right. And Mario was jamming out there like 71.
And I have to say this respectfully, because you're right. Because I actually, once again, God bless, I saw Mario play. I saw him playing 123.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling you, I was there. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
That was my junior high school. I went to 123. So, I remember actually seeing, Mario play.
The Chuck City crew. That's right.
Chuck City, right? Disco King Mario, Chuck City crew. And then you had, and Jazzy at one point used to Jazzy J actually, what people don't know, used to DJ for Mario at one point.
Yeah, exactly. And see, we get left out, like the Soundmasters in the Mark V, right? Because Jazzy J was good, but it wasn't better than DJ Billy Boy, you know what I mean? And he the one that honed Billy Boy's skill. Billy Boy he was called Light in the Hands Billy Boy. Okay. You know what I mean? And we should have been in that movie B Street, but Jazzy J was in there.
Right.
And then Ice-T was in there too, you know what I'm saying? But It's a lot of stories. That's when I got because that's when I got blackballed by then. It was a whole lot of things against Castle Hill. People was always like jealous of Castle Hill. All the other projects was intertwined. Bronxdale, Bronx River, Soundview, and then Castle Hill. We had to fight for our respect and everything. You know what I mean?
So I want to interject because he said a lot of stuff there, and I got to say, no, I got to interject.
I'm like, word, we in that space? Let's go.
I know that there were a lot of Latin people doing rocking. They were rocking and all that stuff and all that. So there is a guy that I saw. Do you know a guy named Willie Estrella?
Yeah, I remember him. I know that is. Yeah.
So Willie had film, all right, of Spanish people, Latin people. I don't care if you're Dominican, Puerto Rican, Cuban, Mexican. I don't care. Latin.
Right.
All right. Up rocking.
Okay.
So the history of B-boy, all right, there's a mixture of different historical facts.
Right.
Yeah, because that was in B Street. They was up rocking in B Street.
No, but before B Street.
No, I'm saying, but they showed that in B Street.
Right, but
They
before
showed
B Street,
elements.
because I was a member of the Savage Immortals, so I know the Black Pearls, the Black Face, and all that. So I
right.
go back too, so I know the whole deal with that.
That's right.
I used to hang out in a club called La Casa Blanca on Castle Hill Avenue over there, the after hour spot. So I know the deal. So my thing is that there has to be a collaboration between Hispanic and Black people together.
Oh, that's
wait
right.
a minute. I'm gonna let you talk.
I ain't talking. I just said that's right. I'm backing you up.
Right.
Don't get sensitive. You know what I mean?
Go ahead,
Here we go. So, because no matter what, the history that's already written is the history that's already written. It's already written. So everybody, like I went with Hip Hop Boulevard because that was already there, place. I wanted to take the path of least resistance. I think that you guys have a story to say also. But we have to also be careful how we tell our story, because what happens to a lot of people when you change history, then what happens is the people who are above us, and those are the people who are paying, the corporations, and everybody else that's going by our word, say these people don't know what the hell they're talking about. First it's this guy, now it's that guy, now it's the other guy. What's the truth? And they get confused and they step away. Right. They step away. They don't care about our truth.
Right, they get kooky.
They get, okay, we got to step away from this thing. This thing is a mess.
Right.
And it becomes a mess. So there has to be a collaboration where your truth, everybody else's truth, can be said properly to be able to give props to Disco King Mary, because he was out there grinding before a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right? But the same can be said in somebody in Brooklyn and somebody in Queens and all that, because everybody, when hip hop started, it started catching on all over the place. Right. So everybody had a Kool Herc in a different borough, in a different city and all that. Everybody had a sound master in a different borough, different city. Everybody had the King Mario and all that stuff.
PTJ Jones and Flowers and those guys.
So
that's right, Hollywood and all of them,
we have to be able to work together to put together a platform to be able to tell our truth so it's valid. So that way they go and co-sign it, because if we come out, because I've had several conversations with different people in the space, and different people just telling me, and they say, but why did you go with 1973? Because path of least resistance. This is what they had already. They're already confused. Don't you think that, look, think about it. Every time the mayor has a meeting with everybody on the steps of City Hall and go and say, the hip-hop community, how many people in the hip-hop community weren't there? And how many say, I should be there?
Yeah.
Because they don't know.
That's right. That just I said that on going way back. He said, I didn't say your name, that means you wasn't there. You know what I mean? But for real. But that's why I mentioned what I said about, see, everything got to go back to how life started at the motherland, right? So it's a record I got, like I was saying earlier, with Mami Abdul-Jamal. I sampled that from one of our records called Rise, where he said, rap is an authentic descendant of a people with ancient African oral traditions, because they used to play on the drums and they did oral talk and everything. So that's where rap, just like you want to rap to a girl, let me rap to you, that means talk. So that's why I mentioned Melly Mel as the first talker or the rapper, because that's the element that's missing right now. That's why I mentioned Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, because after they did their movements, there was no more voice of the people, and hip hop came out.
Right.
But the first record was Kim Tim, right?
King Tim the Third. You talking about?
That was the first record.
Like 78.
Melly Mel's record came out afterwards.
Right. Nah, but we
Well,
were
it's really
talking about.
the Fatback Band.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. The Fatback Band.
Fatback Band, yeah, King Tim.
But
yeah.
what we were saying was, what we were discussing earlier, we were just saying, they was asking me what my top 5 rappers were. And I was basing it on, I could only base it on how they changed the trajectory of the music industry. So that's what I based it on. I said, okay. And you know, I think he was surprised that I said Melly Mel. And I'm like, Melly Mel's number 1.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, because he changed the trajectory of the rap industry before it was even an industry. Just how it was going down in the streets. He was the first one that was really lyrical. You know, he was, and then so he keeps mentioning it, but there's a backstory to that you guys that are off camera aren't aware of. So that's what's happening.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
And this is what I'm saying. If we go and we say, I'm the first one that came out with the phone, and then somebody come out and says, I'm the first one that came out with the phone, not you, and you got no proof, you got no story, you got nothing, but you just contradicting that, somebody gonna say, yo, we're gonna make our own phones. You guys. You know, I don't want to deal with the headache.
What I agree with
that's what I'm afraid of. As everybody comes out and say, I'm first, I'm second, and all that.
I think we moved into the space that, you know, it's been universally accepted that 73 would be the date, right?
Right.
As they do it in the Hip Hop Museum and other stuff. But I think that also in that we're gonna have to acknowledge, because Mario gets looked over all the time, and and I live with Mario's MC, little Puerto Rican named Rocky D, right? He used to MC for Mario. He lives with me now. He's 56 years old, right? Well, he's been my best friend since we were 10. So he gets looked over, right? And I think there's other heroes during that era that affected hip hop that we kind of overlooked because number one, they're either not alive anymore, and a lot of the people that were there that could give you historical facts might not even be alive anymore, or not even realize that person that, you know, is relevant. You know what I'm saying? So when you swung into the Mario shit, I'm like, I was shaming myself. I'm like, you know what? Fuck. How do you miss that? But it's easy to miss.
And
Because they forget about people with the movement. That's why I mentioned Malcolm X and Martin Luther King.
Right.
See, just like with Dr. Sebi, the herbalist. You know Dr. Sebi, right?
Yeah.
See, people, and not overlooking Dr. Sebi was the truth, but Layla Africa was out before him. But they don't know we talk about Layla Africa because, see, Layla Africa was part of the Move family from Philadelphia.
Right.
You know, Ram and all that stuff. There was the movement. They want you to ignore that and just go with this. You know what I mean? Because he got books called African Holistic Health.
Right.
You know, then the whole thing about the black man ate itself to our grave. You know what I'm saying? Nutricide. That's the name of the book, Nutricide.
Right.
So they ignore the concept or the knowledge behind everything. That's why I mentioned the lessons.
Okay.
Now,
So when
you
they
say
came
they, who you saying they ignore? Who's they?
The media, the power structure, everything, everybody, like you said, the conglomerate that put the money behind these things.
Right.
Because look, I had records in 1980 also. I got records still on YouTube right now.
Okay.
That I got blackballed by Russell and them. That's why I mentioned Run DMC. They did it at our expense, at my expense.
Okay.
Because they wanted to buy some of our music, because when I moved from the Bronx to Queens, and I was making records in 83, 84, when Run DMC came out in 83, with
Right.
Suck MCs.
And your group was who?
Strictly Business.
Strictly Business.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to
Spelled
put
with
it
a
together.
Z, BIZNESS.
Okay.
It's still on YouTube right now.
Okay.
And if you see the quotes, the comments, somebody from Japan posted it up there. Because they was like, yo, I was looking all over for this record. Where was it? Because it got blackballed.
And what label did it come out on?
Under our own record, Legear Records.
Your own label.
Our own label.
So
like
you
that.
did your own label.
Yeah.
Dope.
We had it before. Russell Simmons had Def Jam.
Okay, so
But
you
that
have
was
your-
Rush Productions.
Okay, so you have your own label. You put out your own record. The name of the group one more time?
Strictly Business.
Strictly Business. I'm just doing it.
Legear
I'm
Records.
making notes because I got to chop this up.
Yeah. Strictly. That's why I say you spell with
With a Z.
the regular, the Z, BIZNESS.
And then I'm going to look it up on YouTube because I'm going to play it. I'm going to put it on the show.
It's called Call It What You Want.
Yeah. Dope. I love that. So what was the deal now? So what happened with you and Run?
Well, when I moved from the Bronx to Queens, because my rap partner lived in Queens, and I worked 20 years with my father, so we worked over there close by where we at, by Ditmars Boulevard, where Rikers Island, right around the corner from there. So Mark, his partner, used to roll with the Supreme team, and he was hanging in the streets too much. So Mark was like, I got to give me a new partner because he wanted to play in the streets all the time. So that's when me and him became partners. He came on the job because the dude that was a truck driver got him the job. So me and Mark grew up with 3 white dudes, Louis, Harry, and Guzzy. Lead guitarist, the bass guitarist, and the drummer. And at this time, I know a lot of stuff now, but at this time I didn't know that rock music was so-called devil music, because you know they got the group KISS, stands for Knights and Satanic Services.
Yeah.
Ozzy Osbourne, you know, used to bite the heads with bats on stage.
All that shit,
so
yeah.
all that stuff is real, Black Sabbath.
Right.
And then Run DMC came out because they wanted to buy our music and we wouldn't let them. So that's when they came out with Walk This Way.
Got you.
With Errol Smith, and Errol Smith was the best friend of Ozzy Osbourne. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they was tight.
You know what I mean? Steven Tyler.
So now the year of this happening. Now, do you guys have the same record as Walk This Way, or did you?
No, it wasn't the same record.
Or did you
Our
do a
record was-
rock record?
Yeah, it was rock and rap. That's why I said I said I didn't know that was devil music. That was just I knew knowledge, but I didn't know that.
Okay.
So I just thought it was good music. You know what I mean?
So you made a rock rap record.
Yes.
That's what I needed.
And Rick Rubin
Okay.
was basically over Russell Simmons. You know, Rick Rubin.
Right.
He's a rock star.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to buy our music, and we wouldn't let them. That's when we got Blackball, and they came out with Walk This Way, and then the King of Rock. You can't be the King of Rock if that's devil music. That means you're the King of devil music. You know what I mean? And then the tour was called Raising Hell.
Right.
That's why I said I couldn't put them second, because they changed the game, but when you change it, it's got to be for positive or negative.
Right.
And when they changed it, it was turned towards the negative way because they opened up the gates to hell.
So based on the timeline, this is what I'm going to say. That the record that came out was probably Rockbox.
No, the first one was Walk This Way, then King of Rock, then Rockbox.
No, Rockbox was first. That was first.
But the one that really got the shine was Walk. Look at the video.
No, I know it.
You know what I mean?
Listen.
Yeah.
I walked the dog. What do you call it was first? The first joint was Rockbox. Is the first record that they dropped, and that went on their first album with and all that shit, right? Walk This Way came in 80. I gotta go with 86 because that's the Raising Hell album.
Exactly, yeah.
Right, that's the Raising Hell album. And Walk This Way, the record was based on the fact that we used to play Aerosmith in 79, 78 for the break. The beginning part of the record.
Yeah.
You know, we played that in the Bronx.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, we played the shit in 79. So that was the basis of the record. So I'm only saying to kind of put what you're saying together is Rockbox is probably the record that you birthed. Because Rockbox was a rap record.
The reason why I mentioned Walk This Way, Rockbox was definitely first. And the reason why I mentioned Walk This Way is because you seen the video, right? Like I was saying?
Yes.
In the video, Run DMC was minding their business in their room.
Right.
Errol Smith, Steven Tyler listened to the wall and heard them, took a big sledgehammer and knocked the wall down and said, walk this way. Right. So that's basically, if you're doing something what God wants you to do righteous, then the devil telling you, forget what God said, walk my way. Right. That's why I mentioned that.
Right.
So they walked our youth a whole different way. That's why I said the tour was called Raising Hell. And they raised up the gates of hell, and then now you got all sorts of music right now, whether it's drill music or whatever they call it, with psychedelic music, like with Travis Scott concert,
right.
When the people were yelling, turn it off, because it was the frequency was messing up their immune system.
Right.
That's why people were yelling to turn it off, turn it off. Kanye West had a record years ago called Blinding Lights. They say that they blackballed it in the UK and America because it was giving people seizures and nosebleeds.
Right.
So if you give them a different frequency, it's a high-pitched sound. You know what I mean? That go back to the biblical era with Cain's sons, two sons. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So Jubal and Jabalan, they came up with the flute sounds, like the Pied Piper. Like the Pied Piper.
All right.
You know?
I want that sex stuff.
Don't pull the camera out.
I want that sex stuff. All right? And I don't want to go into...
I can do this for 3 hours.
I don't want to go into religion.
Right.
That's what we're going into.
No, not religion. I ain't going to religion.
Look, when you mention the Bible, you're going into some type of religion.
No, not really. See, because
what he's driving at is what I understand, right? And this is actual factual, right? Certain frequencies of music are going to hit you a certain way. That's right. Are going to make you vibrate a certain way, right?
There you go.
That's why we do that, right? That's why when I engineer, I know if my record is right if I got you vibrating the right way, vibing, right? Because you say vibe, right? Right? But the truth is, I'm trying to get you vibrating the right way on whatever frequencies that I'm trying to produce. You know what I'm saying? So because that's scientific. You know what I'm saying? They got sound waves now that if you got a what do you call that shit? In your side, kidney stones. They put you in a tub and they burst sound waves at you.
That's right, for real.
To bust up the kidney stones.
To break them up and
right, to vibrate you. Right, that's it. Yeah.
I understand all that stuff. I want to go back to the Blackballs.
Go ahead.
I want to go back. I want to go back to the music side.
Let's ride with it.
Right?
Go ahead.
Because understand that when you say you've been blackballed, and I'm going to give you a perfect example of being blackballed and just doing what you got to do. When I started VIP Record Pool, I already have Grand Sure Record Pool, had that, and a year later started VIP Record Pool. When I started VIP Record Pool, all the record pools in New York City got together and wrote a letter to all the record companies not to service my pool. Because my ex-partner didn't want me to succeed in starting this record pool. So that's a perfect example of being blackballed.
Yeah, I mentioned Blackball.
Wait a minute.
I gave you an example.
Wait a minute. Now, what did I do? Because I understand you're saying you were blackballed, but my thing is, you should have been able to overcome that. Because what I did was, I went and I had a party where I invited all the record companies to come with my DJs, and I had my DJs all play at that party. And all the record pools, I invited them. Everybody who signed the letter and said, don't service out, I invited them. And I used to be an old gang member, so I invited my old gang to be security. So they were security, and they took all these guys who were running this pool, that pool, upstairs, and they took all the record companies and left them downstairs on the main floor. Open bar, war party. Now remember, nobody wanted to give me a record. I was wondering why, if I had the best record pool in the country, why couldn't I get one record from one record company? And that was the reason why, because they were blackballing me. That night, when about 2 o'clock in the morning, everybody's happy, partying and everything, I shut off the music. I bring all the DJs, there were 15 DJs. I brought them up to the middle of the stage, and I told all the companies, now you've heard my DJs, you know what we're about. You see, we're breaking music. You hear the music we're playing. How many of you will service our company now? And please show it by clapping, applauding. And all of them gave us a standing ovation. And that was the end of my blackball. And I want to give you one other example. When I was, they offered me a position to be a Billboard reporter. There was never a Billboard reporter that was a record pool director, because they felt that integrity would be broken, because it's too much power for one person to be a Billboard reporter and be a record pool director. He would get records from everybody and abuse his power. It took Greg Rouse, remember Greg Rouse?
Yeah.
It took Greg Rouse, Curtis Ubina, to write a letter to Billboard to say, out of all the record pools in the country, this one guy is the one guy that should get that Billboard reportership, because his integrity is intact, and we're putting our jobs on the line, sending you this letter. So I became a Billboard reporter, and I was a record pool director. I opened up the record pool and all that stuff, and my record pool was successful. I opened up one in Chicago and one in Miami. Blackball is only if you let it happen. If you let it happen, because I wish I would have met you then.
Yeah.
All right? Because I would have been your biggest advocate. Because I was there when Russell started with Party Time Records.
Yeah.
I was there when Rick Rubin was there when they were doing the thing at NYU. I was there. I've been in everybody's beginning. I'm 67 years old.
Yeah.
So I've been in everybody's beginning and watched but I was just the person. I was just a person in the background with the record companies, dealing with them, and all kind of different capacities. So I hear what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but move forward.
I love Al.
Yeah.
Listen, here's what I gotta say about Al. Listen, man, I brought Al my record. He dissed it. He was like, "This shit is whack." I bought him my record in like 1987. Like I had a record. I was proud of this shit too. It wasn't even 87. It was like 80, 85. We could hear you, Eddie, in the back. All right, thank you. Yeah. It was like 85. I brought Al the record, and I was proud. I made a plate. I literally made an acetate, and I brought it to. I had it in the Shaka Khan album cover, right? So that you could identify it, right? And I brought it to Al. And Al listened to it because he had Jackie Jack and all that shit was going on, right? And he listened to it, right? And he's like, "This is not going to work. It's whack." And I was like, "Oh," and I was crushed, right?
Yeah.
But it was a moment. Because everybody thought it was whack. Because I took it to Profile. I took it all over. I took it all over the city. And everyone was like, shit is whack. It's just not going to work. And then, but then I kept going, and then I made Shake What Your Mama Gave You a few years later. But what I do want to say is, Al is always, the one thing that I can say about me and Al's relationship is he's always been very straight with me.
Yeah.
He's always been very straight. You know what I'm saying? From his inception. So I always know that, and I always appreciate that about him. You know what I'm saying? And for you, I mean, I wish that I'd have known you too during that time, because you know, the one thing that happens in this industry, right? We'll get blackballed, or we'll get sort of put out to pasture, right? And it happens. And we just have to kind of look at it for what it is at that moment and just kind of keep moving past it and keep making records and keep making moves, right? In this industry, the one thing you can't do is you can't let anybody stop you from making moves. You can't. They've tried to stop me from making moves many times. Yeah. When I made Shake What Your Mama Gave You, everyone's like, that's not going to work. It's ridiculous. And you know what? I'm going to tell you the truth. I agreed. Yeah. I was like, this is a fucking stupid record. There's only 6 words. It doesn't do anything else, right? And then one day they're playing it on the radio, and then they started identifying me with this character, because it's really a character, because it's not who I am, right? I can actually rap, right? I actually got something to say. But they were like, this record that only says 6 words has defined my life. Like, when you got introduced to me, he was like, this MC Sticky, Shake What Your Mama Gave You, you know what I'm saying? Like it's part of the fucking name, you know what I mean? But there's so much depth to me musically and in life that people don't really get. That's why I started doing these podcasts, to kind of like get my thing out. And I'm only saying to you that, you know, in this industry and in this life, right, we fight forward. We fight forward. We're going to lose sometimes. We're going to win sometimes. Out of, let me see, I've probably made 100 records. Easy 100. And I've only had 6 hits. Yeah. Out of 100. Out of 100. And 6 that you all know in this room. You might not know it's me, but you all know it. I've only had 6. But had I just, you know, and I did good shit in the music industry and bad shit. You know what I'm saying? Me and Wyclef had a little beef at one point, you know, like it was a whole thing. But the idea is they will blackball you, there's no doubt. But they can't stop you from making moves if you continue to make moves. I'm still making moves. I just tell you the foundation of that, but I was still making moves. One of the moves I made when they so-called blackballed me, because see, let me explain the whole thing. I use the word blackball.
That sass nigga. Talk that sass.
There you go. Come on.
I used the word blackball, but they couldn't really blackball me because, like I said, we had our label before Russell had his label.
Right.
At that time when they had the crack era out, my brother and them was into the streets and they gave us the money for the label, and my cousin. So therefore they couldn't really blackball us. The people I was with, Mark Starr and them, they the one that if you don't be a unit and work together, then y'all will fall.
Correct.
So that's what really stopped us, not them.
Right.
So at the time when that fell, Just Ice, the rapper, I gave him my rap book, and Just Ice became a star. So basically, was still using my words.
Right.
You know what I mean? And at that same time, I was still teaching knowledge to the youth, because that's what I mainly do. I go to the schools, jails, churches, centers, and build. So they couldn't stop. You can't stop
that action.
God's movement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I still got music out still to this day right now. So they still can't stop this. They just what's the word? Stalled it. But it's not really stalled because everything is ordained by the Most High.
Correct.
They can only sidetrack you for a little while, but they can't really stop you because it's written. Like Nas' album called It's Written. It is written.
So right now, you're doing what right now? I just want to know, like, in the present day.
One is doing the camera right now, and nephew.
Yeah.
We got our group called the Elohim team.
Okay.
Because there's no such word as God in Hebrew. It's Elohim.
Elohim.
Plural.
Yeah. Yes.
So Elohim is a group of beings. That's the definition. So we looking for a group of beings to help put this world back in its proper order. And we got perfect, like, vibrational, spiritual music. When you hear our music, it's not going to throw you out of whack. Like you said, a vibration. Smokey Robinson was playing love music at the time. That was called baby making music. Then you got disco music or house music and everything that make you want to go to Bentleys and dance.
Right.
Then you got street or gangster music that make you want to get violent. You know what I'm saying? Rile up.
Get that energy,
so our stuff is spiritual music that's going to make you want to listen and vibrate and build and change this world back around how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because right now the vibration is off because it's like we say with the word black. Black is not a color, it's a state of existence.
Correct.
Represents supreme balancement. And the world is unbalanced right now because hate is winning, evil is winning. Only way to combat that is with truth. Like they say, when truth comes, false must perish.
Yeah.
So the name of our stuff is called the Elohim team. We got shirts that he be making. Like one of them is called like you see the thing you got on the goat, like everybody flashing the Baphomet symbol.
Right.
The Baphomet is the double horns.
Okay.
And the Baphomet, his real name is Azazel, which means the one removed from the heavens. And that started, like I said, when I got blackballed in 80, 85, 86, when Run DMC that came out with Walk This Way and Rock Box and King of Rock, Raising Hell with the tour. Nobody was doing the Baphomet symbol then until they introduced that through rock.
Right.
They was doing that symbol. We wasn't doing that as our people. We didn't do it. We did peace symbol.
Right.
We didn't do no bad. Now everybody flashing the symbol and don't really know what it means.
I gotta disagree there.
You could disagree with tell me.
No, but I'm gonna disagree with an explanation.
Right.
Because
That's what I said. Drop it.
When I was hanging out with the gangs, most of the Savage Skulls and what was this other gang, the Javelins, Turbulence, all them guys were all using all kinds of signs like that, and then they had the German swastika on
Right.
their stuff and all that. So I grew up seeing a lot of that stuff.
Right.
So
And even Bam
You
did.
basically said what I said.
Yeah.
So, but what I'm saying is, it wasn't really rock and roll music.
But you mentioned
that
German
was-
swastikas. The same stats I'm
but
talking about.
No, it wasn't really rock and roll music. It was more like an identifying themselves as some kind of cult, like
Anti-culture.
anti-culture kind of thing. Because we always, the one thing that I always say to people that are trying to walk a certain way, all right? If you're trying to walk a certain way, and you're saying to yourself, well, I'm preaching the gospel, or I'm a pastor, reverend, whatever it is that you're doing, and you don't want to go to a strip club, or you don't want to talk to this guy who's talking about this, or any kind of stuff like that, I always say to them, Jesus went everywhere. Even with the devil invited him and said, yo, he did 40 days. He went everywhere, because the only example that we could give to those people that are against what we believe is us giving them that example. We have to lead. We have to, and that's why I love, it was a hard time for me to go back to music, because I had just lost my children, I lost my job, I lost everything all like in about a week. And I was in the top of my game in the music business and all that. And it took a pastor to talk to me and not convince me. It took me to say, if your God could get me my kids, I'd serve him for the rest of my life. And I challenged him. And I said, he said, I guess I see you in church. Yeah, I'm going to be in church, bro. Because I want to see how God could get my kids. And I knew I talked to every attorney and all that stuff. And I did all the stuff I could do. And everybody said, it ain't going to happen. And I got my kids on Thanksgiving Day 2001. And since then, I've been serving the Lord. So when I walk. And I don't care if you're into this, into that, and all that stuff. I'll be in a room full, and Rock can attest to this, I'll be in a room full of guys, they're bugging out, whatever. Give my cranberry juice. Yo, Al, you want a line? Don't do that no more, my man.
Right.
Yo, Al, you want the...
No, I'm good.
I'm good. What, bro? But they know me from that life.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that I want to give you your props for everything that you're talking about and everything that you're teaching us and learning. You're an educator. You're an educator. You're out there to go talk the wisdom and the knowledge that you have. And had I met you a long time ago, believe me, bro, that there would have been a whole different life for you and me. Because what happens is hip-hop is divided. It's not united.
That's right.
And no matter what, like this whole 50th anniversary is even more divisive, because there's only selected few that get hooked up and put together into it, and not everybody else. So it's important that we allow people like yourself to talk your story, to tell your story, so people know your story.
Right.
Because nobody else wants to hear it. Nobody else wants to let you tell your story. Because they got their story and they stick it to their story and did the story and that's it. And yo, you're my man and everything. Gotta go. I gotta do this thing and all that
Listen,
stuff.
if I was a curator, right, and someone was to say, right, and I kind of am that, right, because whenever somebody sits across the table from me, I'm looking for the bullshit, right. Nothing about you is bullshit. Like you like, nah, nigga, boom, and I'm sitting there, word, but like we can verify each other's, existence really in the space. So that's really important. You know what you're doing, and I know you got crew here too. Because I guess we got to get to talk to you in a minute. You know what I'm saying? Right, to kind of do all that. Because I already see that we're at 44 minutes, but we're gonna keep going, right? Because we're kind of taping.
I think she wanted to say something.
Yeah, no.
I thought you wanted to say something. Oh, okay.
No, Robbie told you talk that sass, nigga.
Okay, all right.
You got my mic on, dude.
It's on. If you want to say it, if you want to say anything.
Okay, my bad.
But we're gonna swing the other your partner into the seat.
Okay.
And then
Right,
before you leave, how can the people contact you?
Absolutely.
How you gonna do it, G? How you gonna contact us? You gonna contact Zoom Lens? Zoom Lens, he got camera door also. You gonna contact my man Don Too Real, who got me here and everything. Don Too Real from all the movements, from Are You Shitting Me, from Hip Hop Boulevard, from everything.
Right. Don Too Real on Facebook,
Don Too
right?
Real. Don Too Real, Boo Black.
Edward Rivera
On Facebook.
on Facebook. That's how they can contact me.
Cool.
Or through the Hip Hop Boulevard.
Yeah.
Edward.
Yeah.
So you get to me, you get to.
Because we want to do.
My man who brought me here.
Yeah, we definitely want to do more of this.
I'm in number
This is dope.
Yeah, that's right. He used to be our dancer when we got Blackball. I know. Because Gloria Gaynor, we was going on tour with Gloria Gaynor.
Oh, you was going
on tour with Gloria Gaynor at that
with
time.
Heartbeat? Heartbeat. You make me feel so weak.
No, that was Tanya Gardner.
Oh shit! Oh, Gloria
That was
Gaynor.
Tanya Gardner. Gloria
I
Gaynor.
will survive.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, yo. That's right.
Hip hop, hip hop, hip hop, hip hop, hip hop boulevard. Hip hop, hip hop boulevard.
Y'all better get your crap together.